you want to show there. Maybe it's one of your own other games, or maybe it's one of the games from your friends. You want to cross-promote each other a bit like that. So that, if your game gets features there, that's free promotion. It can drive free downloads, but it also means you have to do the same in your own game. So you might kind of lose downloads in your own game as well to other games. Personally, I don't think that's a bad thing, because people always have multiple games installed on their mobile or on their tablet. I don't know if there's like an average number, but I think everyone who owns a tablet or something, or a mobile, they have at least 5 games on it. So they're going to find other games anyway. It might as well be through your game. The Holy Grail of mobile marketing is getting featured by the App Store. I'd say don't count on it. It's if it happens, then it's party time. It's a great bonus. But a great story that I heard from last year at Gamescom, for example, is a friend of mine was walking around at Gamescom, and he bumped into 2 guys from Apple. They were like the Apple game dev relationship managers. So he was talking to him, and at the end of the conversation, he was like, "Hey, can I get your card?" And they were like, "No, we ran out of cards." Yeah, sure. It just means that they don't want to be approached, because if they would be approachable, then they would be swarmed by hundreds of developers who want to get featured, right? So they keep their distance a lot. It's really hard to get in touch with these guys. So I mean, it's that's what I'm trying to say. Don't count on it. And if your game is really good, they'll find you. But one thing that I did hear, I'm not sure for how long it will be applicable, but I did hear that if you launch your game in the iOS store on a Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, that's when the Apple New List. Don't laugh. It's true. That's when the Apple New List refreshes. That's when the new content kind of gets in. And that is apparently the best chance to really get into that featured spot. There's been people who are spending a lot of time, researching this. And one thing that I really cannot stress often enough is add analytics to your game. Not just analytics what people do in your game, for instance with tools like Flurry, but also analytics about how people react to your game in the stores. So if you implement, for instance, App Annie, that's the biggest app analytics, store analytics tool, you can see how your game ranks all around the world. You have just a dashboard with all the rankings of your, of all the different markets in the world. And it saves you a lot of time, and it gives you a lot of context about the performance of your game. Yeah, that's already what I thought would happen. For some reason, the presentation is a bit messed up. I'm missing the whole monetization part. Maybe someone from the technical department can help me out here. I'd like to really tell you a lot about the monetization, because I think that was the most interesting part of my talk. Is there no one? No tech guy here? No? I'm all left on my own? Great. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna do it without the slides. I'm just gonna. I have some notes here. I'm actually gonna, go all out, and in my own way, I defined kind of 9 points about in-game monetization, 9 different in-game monetization methods. This would be a lot better if I had some visuals, but just bear with me. A lot of developers are doing in-game monetization, and just like I said, the 9 points that you really want to keep in mind when you design your in-game monetization. First of all, it's fairness. Yeah, keep it fair for the players who do not want to pay. I mean, it's for instance in a big RPG game, if you want to reward paying users by giving them kind of a shortcut to super special weapons, or a shortcut to the end boss, something, that's great, but make it fair as well for the non-playing users to reach that. Otherwise, it's going to end up again in flame wars and bad reviews. Because people, when they feel stood up, yeah, they're gonna let you know in the reviews. Another aspect of monetization is impatience. Humans are quite impatient creatures, and you can take advantage of that. It sounds a bit dirty when I look at this, when I say it this way, But people do it all the time. For instance, we know it's better to go to the gym at night instead of sitting on our ass and watching TV, but still we end up sitting on our ass watching TV. That is because that is an instant reward. It feels good now. Whilst going to the gym is going to feel good later in a few weeks when you lost a few pounds. But still, we always fall for the short-term goals. And you can use that as well when it comes to in-game monetization. You know, if, for instance, a player has to spend 10 hours in your game to get that super special power magic sword, or you just let him pay $1, you know, kind of, you can kind of push him towards that impatience. Third aspect of monetization, collection. People like to collect stuff, especially if they can show it off. I mean, for instance, if I'm playing a racing game and I can complete the racing game while just having 4 cars in my garage, but there's space for 10 cars in my garage, wouldn't it be nice to have 10 cars in that garage, right? I mean, even if I have to buy that last one for $2, Ferrari for $2 is quite a steal, you know? So it's the collection part. People like to complete their show it off and complete. That's also an aspect of monetization that you can focus on. Fourth, kind of linked to collection, is personalization. It's again about the showing off. I mean, I'm sure that all of us at some point in our dark internet history days have been in a sort of avatar chat room environment where there were always some people carrying special hats around on their avatar. How did they get those? It's probably in-game monetization. They probably just bought that hat because they thought it was funny. Or, you know, even, especially if it's like a limited edition. Ooh, I gotta have that, it's limited. Yeah, and kind of you know, rolls into the next one, the kind of the whole limited offer feeling. If something is on offer right now and only now, there's a sense of urgency that, oh, I have to buy it now. This is quite a good deal. The good deal might be expired tomorrow. Might as well buy it now. You kind of jump on that, the sense of urgency and the impulse buying. Good deals are also a way of monetizing impulse buying. It's not something new for the game industry. For instance, if you walk into the supermarket and then you see a deal, buy 3 cans of soup for the price of 2. Okay, yeah, well, I like soup. Well, you know, I'll buy that. And then you have 3 cans of soup at home, so you might as well eat some soup tonight. And maybe tomorrow night as well. And then actually you end up eating more soup than you would usually do. So next week you ran out of soup and you gotta go to the store again to buy more soup. Works the same with in-game coins. If people score a real good deal of in-game coins right now, like, you know, 100 coins or something, and first they'll think, oh, 100 coins, that's endless supply. I'm gonna have months, you know, to spend that. But actually, since they have those 100 coins, they're gonna spend more. And they might already run out of it next week, waiting for the next good deal. Oh yeah, another way of monetizing. This is actually the dirtiest one. It's pay to continue. I don't know if any of you played Puzzles and Dragons. You know, it's kind of infamous for it. You can kind of go game over, and when you do, you can pay to actually save your game and continue. So imagine that as a user, you already spent 50 hours on a game, and then you go game over, and then the game tells you got to pay $1 to continue. You know, it reminds me of those old arcade machines where you go game over and you got to put a new coin in it. It's a very emotional way of monetization because people feel like they built up something and they don't want to lose it. They'd rather spend instead of losing it. So yeah, I just at this point I'd just like to say, be careful. You know, don't abuse it. That's evil. When it comes to fairness, there's also a sense of fair pricing. I mean, we already discussed fairness in terms of non-paying users and paying users. You know, who gets the advantage should be balanced. But for pricing, there's also, you know, I mean, what is actually fair for you know, what is a fair price? I mean, if you're to buy, for instance, that super special sword in the RPG game, are you going to price it at $1, or are you going to price it at $10, or maybe it's super special and you're going to price it at $100? You know, there's a whole balance of what people are willing to pay and what they're not willing to pay, what is insane and what is perceived as fair. And I mean, sometimes making it cheaper is actually going to earn you a lot more money because a lot more people seems, you know, to them it seems like it's a good deal. Yeah, and the last one, but monetization is just about those non-paying users. I mean, of all your users, maybe only 1% is going to end up paying. And what are you going to do with those other 99%? I would just say there's nothing wrong with in-game advertising. I mean, as long as you have a good balance, that's just a good way of, you know, making a little bit of money on those players who are never ever going to pay for your game. I mean, people are already used to commercials when it comes to TV, when it comes to radio, and, you know, why not in your game as well? Especially if you're giving them free entertainment, there's nothing wrong with just showing them an in-game ad and just making a little bit of money out of them that way. Just, it's a balancing thing. I mean, if you're going to bug them with 10 ads in 5 minutes, then the user's going to bugger off and play another game. But if you just show 2 ads in a 10-minute gameplay session, then I never heard a player complain about that. Most players realize that, oh, I'm playing this game for free, developer has to live off something, might as well watch this ad. And whatever your game is, no matter how unique and new and revolutionary it is, there's always a game out there that's kind of using similar, you know, similar gameplay, similar techniques. I'd say just have a look in the app stores, see which of those games does really well, and analyze what kind of monetization methods they use, and how they use it, and how they balance it, and try to learn from it. I mean, they made a lot of mistakes probably in that process. Just spare yourself the trouble and, you know, learn from their mistakes. Yeah. So the good news is that also about this monetization parts where the visuals were missing, it's all online in the blog. So the awesome screenshots and stuff that I worked on for hours and hours is not completely lost. It's going to be available online, sorry. And this was actually the end of my presentation. So thanks a lot for bearing with me through the technical trouble. I hope it made sense, and if there are any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Hi Martin, excellent talk. Really loved the slides as well as the slides which were not there. So my name is Sukamal and I also work in the publishing business. So I have a question. I mean, and I saw most of the slides. So what one part which I think was missing was in terms of user acquisition, right? So I know that most of the traditional ways of acquiring users is maybe advertisement through ad networks, right? And so the thing is the problem there is the cost of acquisition is increasing with every, let's say, season or every year, right? So right now discovery is a huge problem. Acquiring users is a big problem, and again, acquiring users at scale for a continuous period of time is again a huge challenge, right? So I think the biggest problem that developers will face, I know they'll come to monetization. These are problems which are maybe later stage, but the first stage is getting discovered and also acquiring users at scale for a continuous period of time. So let's say most developers would not have huge marketing budgets, right? Or maybe even the cross promotion might not work very well for them because they do not have anything to start off with, right? So what are the things now as a publisher, what are you doing to help that? Basically how do you help developers acquire users at scale beyond ad networks?
Well, thanks for asking, because I'm quite bad when it comes to self-promotion, and I totally forgot to tell you what I can developers help with. So yeah, it's just, where I think a publisher has value is really when it comes to their experience and their network. So for instance, what I can do with Tamalaki is I am myself really focusing on kind of the housewife content, so to say, just grown-up women and kind of the stuff that they like. And there's this rule, a publisher will build up a certain audience, and the publisher will know what that audience likes, and the publisher will know how to reach that audience and to cross-promote between the different products. I mean, I have to say, it's really great to see people leaving reviews in the store saying, "I love Tamalaki games." That's just, it's heartwarming. Knowing that, and that's for every publisher, kind of knowing that you have an audience that's always kind of looking for those specific type of games. So I would say that is really the value of what a publisher can bring you. They know what the audience likes and they know how to reach the audience. So you have to give away a bit of your revenue share, but you get like the knowledge and the network of the publisher in return. Does that answer your question?
Partly. So the second thing is like, what are the ways how we have to kind of understand the value of network, but how do we actually like help quality users? What are the methods that you employ? Basically, you're going to get the message out to probably your network of users, right? How do you actually go and tell them like, this is a good game, so maybe you can try it out? And do you go beyond your own network of users to like maybe like do other like activities to basically get users into your network? How do you do that?
So one element is in the SDK that developers have to build in when they work together with me. There's a whole kind of cross-promotion aspect to it, and a whole notification system as well that users can opt into. So then users get a push message whenever I publish a new game. So that is how I kind of expand the network of my existing users. When it comes to new users, we're in touch with those review sites. Mostly the free ones, for a couple of paid ones as well. For instance, for some special promotions, like, I don't know, we just had Halloween, Christmas is coming up. You know, for those kind of special times of the year, it might make sense to also, you know, throw in an extra bit of money that way. So yeah, a publisher also has relationships with those kind of sites. A publisher knows how to arrange extra reviews to get, you know, give your game a good rating in the stores. I mean, publishers also often kind of work together, promoting each other's games. You know, whenever, I mean, if I'm not publishing anything for a month, then I might as well kind of borrow my audience to another publisher, and then later they do the favor in return for me. More questions?
Hi, thanks for the talk. It was really good.
Thank you.
I had a question related to being a very small developer. What is a good test market to go to, just in terms of value for money, and how many users is enough to kind of prove your proof of concept, if that makes any sense? Does that?
When you want to test how popular your game can be, you have to find a market where you can make an impact. So, you know, that might be a smaller market. For instance, the example that I gave, like Scandinavia, you know, let's say Norway. Maybe in Norway it only takes 500 downloads a day to really get into the top 25. So, you know, when it's up there and the next day it immediately drops again, you know they don't like your game. But when it stays there and when it climbs there, you know that your game has, you know, it has some potential. So, you know, for your game, I don't know, of course, what type of game it is. I'd say if it's something that really worldwide appeals, let's say a match 3 game, it makes sense to take an English-speaking test market. If, I mean, here I come again with my local analogy. If it's a cricket game, then you might want to try in UK or in Australia before you launch in India. You know. So.
Other than rankings, are there any other measures of success that you can track?
You can see how many people write about your game, what the reviews say. I mean, if all the reviews are raving, or if a couple of sites, you know, free review sites, if they pick up your game and decide to feature it, or if the store itself decides to feature it. For instance, if Amazon decides that your game is nice and they're going to feature it, and, you know, people are going to like it a little bit more, then it's just kind of small things about success. Or if you, even in your game, if you have a little Facebook like icon, the more people click on it. I mean, people are not going to like a game if they played it one time and then they're going to deinstall it. People are only going to click that like button if they actually like your game. So it's those kind of small indicators. Oh, I'm around tomorrow as well, and I'm always walking around in my Tamalaki t-shirt, so if any of you guys have any more questions, then just walk up to me. Thank you.